probably really looking for a win to keep themselves in the upper section of the standings right now. So this could be a pretty big game if you're a JuliaDuck fan.
Yeah, and especially a big swing for the side of Glacial Rising Phoenix. If they win this game, they're up at 5-1. That's a pretty destructive record. 4-2 is also pretty solid, but again, definitely, I'm sure they would definitely prefer to have that 5-1. So looking pretty clean. The Aphelios ban.
Yeah, looking like each of us is going to like one side of bans here, as JuliaDuck goes for the Yuumi and the Aphelios that you've been talking about needing bans, and Glacial Rising Phoenix knocking out Darius, who, gosh, I don't like getting dunked, and Rengar, who's just annoying. Continuing on, of course, into the Ezreal and Akali being banned. That's a lot of bans from Assassins, or heavy kill, at least, in terms of Darius, on Glacial Rising Phoenix side.
Yeah. Also, just another point about that Rengar, super great target ban here on Revitalize. Glacial Rising Phoenix has definitely done their homework here. Also, don't want to see Yias on the Darius. Great target bans coming out here from Glacial Rising Phoenix, as well as an amazing Aphelios ban. Although, a little bit surprised that JuliaDuck maybe wasn't opting to play Aphelios, as he is so strong right now, but maybe that's just not quite in seniority's champ pool, so just going to take it off the table.
Well, and then when we get into the actual picks here, we've got Aatrox and Ornn, two top laners, two annoying to remove, durable, scrappy top laners. Followed by Syndra for some burst damage here on Glacial Rising Phoenix's side. I don't think that the pair of Ornn and Syndra says too much about their overall strategy, but they're certainly interesting picks. And then we've got Morgana coming in, I think, for JuliaDuck, stalling out the last few seconds here.
Morgana.
No, it's Morgana.
Oh my goodness. Now, is this going to be that cheeky Morgana jungle that we've been seeing? Oh, Vlad locked in. It might actually be Morgana jungle. We've seen it twice so far in the ALS. Both by huge minion difference, I'm pretty sure, but might see it again here.
I'm guessing they're going to try to put Vladimir in mid?
Yeah, it'll be Vlad mid for sure. Morgana jungle once again picking it up by JuliaDuck, and I would pick, if I was going to pick one other jungler in the league to see play Morgana jungle, it'd be Vitalize, an absolute monster in the jungle. I cannot wait to see how he plays his pick. Also seeing the Graves locked in for Skiz, presumably. The Ornn and Syndra, though, already being locked in. Joey Desu very comfortable on this champion. We've seen him play it multiple times, as well as Autumn Skies. Quite comfortable on the Syndra. We've seen him pop off on this champion as well. A little bit of an error in the graphics on stream. Autumn Skies should be in the mid lane here for this game, and Skiz should be in the jungle, but great comfort picking so far for the side of Glacial Rising Phoenix.
Well, and then we're just moving into a bunch of ADC bans. Jhin, Vel'Koz, that's not your name, but Xayah, Yeesh, and Senna. 4 ADC bans in this final phase. Varus, there we go. I can say words.
Absolutely. Definitely targeting, both teams targeting that bot side has not been selected yet. Trying to limit that AD pool that is available for these laners. Lulu being locked in, though, quite interesting.
I like that, Lulu.
Yeah, and Vayne is still left open here, so you would really think that if you are... Oh, they're not going to do it. They're going to lock in Caitlyn. JuliaDuck not going to pick the Vayne off the board.
Now, even without a Vayne, I like that Lulu from Glacial Rising Phoenix. Graves, Ornn, both want to get in your face. Syndra needs that kind of peel.
Oh! Ooh. How can we forget the Juggercaw comp from Glacial Rising Phoenix? It absolutely slipped my mind.
Interesting!
Absolutely.
I have not seen a Kog'Maw get played like this in this game in so long. Now, it sounds like based on your reaction that I might have missed it, though.
Yeah, they whipped it out a couple weeks ago, and let me just save you the time. They won. It was a quite impressive performance. Executed the Juggernaut comp to a T. Not quite as much of a Juggernaut comp this time around, as we do see Skiz on this Graves. So going to be a little bit more of a damage threat, as well as Syndra coming in the mid lane. We're not going to see anything like a Galio. Nothing like a Galio in the mid lane would be a tried and true Juggernaut comp, something like that. But definitely a beefy front line with this Ornn and Lulu to keep him alive. So just a half Juggernaut comp coming in here on the side of Glacial Rising Phoenix.
And not to steamroll the final pick on JuliaDuck's side, we saw an Olaf come out. That is a scrappy team. Yes, Glacial Rising Phoenix has a lot of power behind their team, and I think they could truly hold their own in a fight. But if you are in a smackdown, drag out, haymaker throwing brawl, JuliaDuck has got a team for it. Vladimir might be a mage, but with all that lifesteal and that troll pool, that's just the only thing you can call it. He can get out of there. Aatrox and Olaf just standing in the way, getting all over you with a Morgana, the range of CC on Morgana and that ult to just say, hey, Caitlyn, you just stand over there and don't get in the way. While she is, of course, sniping your face off.
Is a little bit disappointing here, as we will be let down. Not going to see the Morgana jungle coming through, unfortunately. So we'll just be slid down, flex pick down into that support lane as the Olaf pick did come through. But interesting to note the counter pick almost with this Olaf. Going to be probably wanting to just run his directly at the face of Epic Fail Guy. And until you get to the later stages of the game, could be proved quite effective for the side of JuliaDuck, because once Kog'Maw gets a ridiculous amount of damage, could potentially just kill the Olaf before it even gets to him, honestly. But until then, could prove quite problematic for the side of Glacial Rising Phoenix in any sort of early to mid-game team fights.
So something a little weird about this, though, is yes, you want to get that Kog'Maw. Yes, you want that Kog'Maw to not sit there just arcing your entire team into oblivion from super far away. Here's the problem. Caitlyn and Morgana are basically your ranged fighters. I know Vladimir's spells are ranged. I know that he's going to do some stuff to you at a distance, but his kit really does lend itself to being comfortable enough to end up in the middle of that scrap. And then Kog'Maw blows up. If they focus Kog'Maw too heavily here, if they dedicate all of their melee to destroying that Kog'Maw, which they will need to destroy, definitely, it might cause them some problems sometimes, because like you said, he's not their only damage. They've got that Syndra, they've got that Graves, who, by the way, is pretty good in a point-blank fight himself. So
absolutely,
this is one where I don't think I can even call what the fights are going to do based on the draft.
Well, as we spectacularly Hazy laughs, it is time for those predictions, my good man. Would you like to take this one first, or should I?
I'm going to be honest here. I will pick someone in the name of making a prediction. So I'm going to put my prediction with Glacial Rising Phoenix. But in terms of looking at these teams, looking at these comps and these plans, I'm truly of the mind that this is basically a 50-50. If you want me to back up my prediction, then it's 51-49.
I definitely am a little unsure about who I want to go with here. My gut says JuliaDuck, but they have just looked a little bit too sloppy for me in most of their games, and Glacial Rising Phoenix has looked, I'd say the opposite of that. They've looked much more organized, much more clean, and might be just really prepared to kind of capitalize on those sloppy mistakes coming out from JuliaDuck. But I'm going to predict JuliaDuck takes this down. I think they're going to show up today, honestly, and Vitalize is going to have a big game, as well as another day Z. And I think this actually could be, I'm going to predict JuliaDuck in 26. I think it's going to be pretty quick.
Well, we're going to find out here soon as look at that Pugmaw.
Pugmaw. I've honestly never been a fan of that skin. I know a lot of people like it. A lot of people like it a lot.
I just
don't
think
know.
it's fun. I don't know.
It's fun. It's fun. I just don't like it. It's fine. It's a fine skin. We do see Glacial Rising Phoenix here with a nice 4-point start, though. Autumn Skies sidestepping that little hammer flying at his face.
Well, but they're not the one who got hit. Vitalize taking the orb spawn on the head. There is a small exchange though as Autumn Skies gets transfusioned. I mean, they pretty much regenerated all of their mana and lost almost no health. I don't think it's going to really lead to too much, except we've got some calls here that Vladimir burned their ignite. No, that's not correct.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing that. But all of it's pretty relevant though, especially in the eyes of Vitalize, as he's going to recall and pick up that sweeper anyways. So
yeah, Vitalize taken literally no effect here as they're able to get completely back before minions, and Autumn Sky regenerating like, I don't know, all but 1% of their health. But basically, there was some posturing, but it means nothing.
Well, you have another brief second. You want to put a timestamp on your prediction there on Glacial Rising?
Oh gosh, I think Glacial Rising is going to take it, but basically for the reasons you said, I think it's going to be their macro. I think it's going to be their coordination. So I think that on that exact prediction, it'll take a little longer, maybe about 30. But again, I still believe this is like a 51-49 game.
Yeah, it's Glacial Rising in 30. Let's see it. Epic Fail got taking a very little bit of poke there early on. He's could potentially be a little bit of a rough lane for them, especially if Xylantis doesn't hit those shields at the opportune moments when that poke's coming through.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be annoying. I would certainly give Morgana and Caitlyn the poke game over Lulu and Kog'Maw by a long shot, especially for the exact reason we just saw. Landing that binding. Binding gets you pool. Binding and pool gets you sniped by Caitlyn. Lose about a third of your health for basically no investment. So this early harass game will go most likely in JuliaDuck's laning favor. What's going to matter, though, is will they be able to capitalize on it? And that's going to come down to the possibility of ganks, the readiness of both members of the lane to go in.
And something you didn't touch on too much was the sort of comp on the side of JuliaDuck, as we do see a little bit of a potential skirmish in the top side. Vitalize and Zenority both on very early to mid game focused champions. Olaf definitely is also pretty effective once he farms up a little bit, power farms the jungle a little bit, but they also have another day Z on this Vladimir, and Aatrox is moving to the mid to late game, so definitely kind of has their backs covered a little bit on both sides. Obviously don't want to match Glacial Rising Phoenix's late game if they don't have to, but Skiz coming in the top side.
Speaking of Glacial Rising Phoenix, though, going for that gank, Skiz coming in to land all those shotguns, and the CC from Ornn was just stalled long enough that I guess the Use decided it wasn't worth Flash to try to save them, and I can't blame them. They would probably still have been in Skiz's range with that shotgun. So nice, quick, clean gank by Glacial Rising Phoenix early in that top lane.
Yeah, I definitely like to call to save the Flash there. Probably going to die either way. Do not want to make yourself more vulnerable than you need to, especially up on that island in the top lane. So, but yeah, first blood going over to the side of Glacial Rising Phoenix, and that will be into the pocket of Joey Desu. And we have seen him be quite destructive on this Ornn pick in previous games so far this split. So getting off to an early lead like that, already picking up a Bramble Vest actually in this Aatrox. Going to try to stop some of that healing coming through on as early as possible.
And they showed us Aatrox. Oh boy, Aatrox and Vladimir. God, they both are so frustrating. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't we see both of those picks out of JuliaDuck on one of their last games?
I'm not sure about the Vladimir. I believe we have seen another day Z play Vlad, but it might have been a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I might be thinking of the wrong thing totally.
Remember who whooped out the Silas last week? That was pretty dirty. They ended up losing that game again, but
oh yeah, I remember the Silas. Yeah.
But played pretty well. Played pretty strong.
Yeah, I saw some hilarious alt steals in that match.
Absolutely.
Oh, quick skirmish going on in mid lane as we see that same Vladimir we were just discussing get dropped really low. Another DayZ getting comboed a little bit out there by Autumn Skies. Think I even saw the electric cube come down.
Yeah, Autumn Sky's really low on mana now, though, and another day Z has popped the pot and will be able to just heal up, especially with his Q. So was dropped pretty low there, but not going to be too much of a threat for the remainder of this lane until Autumn Skies is able to get a back off. Which, if you're Vladimir, is definitely good news for you.
Oh yeah, Vladimir definitely likes the long game. Speaking of longer things, though, we got a bit of a slug match going on top lane as Uis and Joey both just punching each other into oblivion here. Uis coming out a little behind on health, but being on that Aatrox, maybe it's not as... Oh no, but here comes Skiz. That's going to change things significantly. Ouch! Before we can even talk about the Skiz being there, just let dash in, shotgun, smoke screen, ult out. Yeah, you can finish this off, Uis. I did what I need to.
Yeah, and really not a lot of vision control or really respect for the jungle presence from Glacial Rising Phoenix at all in this top lane. No wards in the river at all. And it's really showing as two ganks have come through and they haven't even... Yias hasn't even been able to have an opportunity to blow flash. They've been so effective.
Yeah, that's... like you said, saving the flash on the early gank was a good idea, but unfortunately it didn't do anything for him here either. And now we're approaching the point where it'll have been 5 minutes since that first time he saved it, and that being the cooldown of flash, of course. Once you hit 5 minutes, saving it didn't do anything.
Yeah, and that window is definitely elapsing here a little bit, but either way, that is 2 deaths. 2 deaths in the score line for Yias. You do see Skiz now taking the jungle, topside jungle, away from Vitalize.
Though Vitalize doing the same at the bot lane.
Yeah, a little bit of vertical jungling going on, but... Oh!
Excellent use of the Blast Cap, removing that option from Vitalize, not managing to pick up the kill, but forcing his Flash in a desperate situation.
Flash will be up there, and now Glacial Rising Phoenix knows that Skiz is probably going to have to reset... Saw a few pings onto the Herald there as it's about to spawn in about 3 seconds, but now just kind of hovering this top side.
Yeah, Skiz getting ready to get that priority that you talked about for that Herald, but this time, yes, a little more wary of it. Backing out a split second before Skiz was even visible, giving themselves enough distance that, we're just gonna leave.
I think Yias maybe blew his flash a little preemptively there. I'm not sure if he really needed it to get out. But this time, taking the more precautious route instead of saving, gonna opt to just pop it and get out safely. Doesn't want to go 0-3 in this top lane.
Well, and while we have a quick second, I want to go back to something we were saying about Caitlyn there. We were talking about how good Caitlyn's poke is and that she was an early to mid-game pick. But I'm going to be honest, it's not like Caitlyn doesn't scale. So if you're on JuliaDuck's side here, even if you were going for that early game advantage on Caitlyn, you might have to start having the discussion about, well, we might have to just wait a little longer and get you some scaling. It may not be as the insane scaling of Kog'Maw, but it is there, and she does have tools like that ultimate to cash in on her AD and such. And at this point, we're hitting the stage where that early game isn't really happening. They've been getting some good poke in the bot lane, don't get me wrong. We've actually seen some great combos land too. Like the one coming down right now that's absolutely destroying Xerendis. Is she going to escape? Yes, the ultimate comes out and... Good dog, Pugma, getting in the way of the
good dog.
Sniper.
Absolutely. Yeah, we did see, while that was going on, Vitalize did pick up the Rift Herald for JuliaDuck. But back to the bot lane, I am a little surprised that it's so even down here in CS. Definitely would think that the poke and harass coming out on the side of JuliaDuck would be enough to grab him at least a little bit of an advantage down there.
Well, I wonder... Let me take a peek here. Kog'Maw... Well, and you can see part of why. Kog'Maw sitting on a Bilgewater Cutlass and still a Doran's Blade already, picking up a little lifesteal. Sure, there's not a lot of damage for it to scale off of, but every little bit of healing in this kind of lane helps. And Lulu, let's see. Yeah, and Lulu's got that Relic Shield. So while they inherit kits of these champions may not help for the healing, here comes Skiz. Never mind, but they don't know that Vitalize is sitting in the jungle. Lulu dropping on their shields to try to stay alive, but it just isn't enough. Exhausting Skiz as they go in. Skiz being able to barely dash out of the range of the Arcana's ult there, but not enough to avoid getting queued into oblivion by the Black Binding. And there we see one of the first big pickups from JuliaDuck, and that will immediately flatten out the record here and any gold advantage there might have been, as the gold gap is now only a couple hundred. It's at 6k, at 600, not k, not 6k.
Yeah, definitely great job. Vitalize was able to slide into that river with the vision control I have. There was a control ward. Real quick though, top side. Actually, nothing's gonna happen up there. The ult will be whipped on side JuliaDuck. But yeah, Vitalize able to sneak in with the vision control they had, and Skiz cleared one ward in the river bush and thought he was probably good to go, but was not expecting Vitalize to be sitting right there.
That is a textbook lane gank right there. Lane counter gank even.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially good job from Vitalize to stick around a little bit extra longer after seeing Skiz clear that ward, seeing him lurking around there. Dragon now being started up from the side of Glacial Rising Phoenix. This should be theirs. JuliaDuck not really in any position to contest this.
I like this decision well enough. It was a little risky. That was close.
a little close.
You did have a little bit of some risk there with the fact that Vitalize had just finished that gank. He could have been hanging around, but he didn't escape from that unscathed. It was a reasonable assumption to think that he would have left, and now, while it was a bit of an assumption, there was some guesswork there. They nailed it. Vitalize was off doing something else. They were able to grab that dragon out from pretty much under JuliaDuck's nose. It was a bit ballsy.
Yeah, but really good job of just kind of recognizing that JuliaDuck wasn't going to be able to do anything about it. A nice little cheese pickup there, but ended up working out for him quite well. CS numbers are a little bit interesting. We do see Autumn Skies up a decent amount, which is you would predict. But JuliaDuck also doing a great job in this top lane, especially with the assistance from Skiz early on. Gonna be scaling up here quite effectively to this mid game, and getting quite tanky.
So big momentum shift we just had here, though. JuliaDuck after that lane gank, after lane counter gank, after that big swing in momentum, Glacial Rising Phoenix being able to pick up the dragon right away after, but now JuliaDuck has finished the bottom turret with plating. So we're actually seeing JuliaDuck come out into this sort of early skirmishing mid-game phase of the match with a slight gold lead. Not a big one, just a couple hundred, but considering they were 2 kills down a few minutes ago, this is a big swing in momentum.
Yeah, and Zenority is actually up about 800 gold right now, despite only being up pretty dead even CS, up a decent amount of gold, and as you're saying...
Vitalize getting themselves into a sticky position, even as Olaf using their ultimate to avoid all the crowd control and flash out, though. No, it isn't enough! They just take too much damage! So many members of Glacial Rising Phoenix show up as another DayZ tries to use that troll pool to get deeper in, does manage to capitalize on the Syndra, so they make it an even exchange and are able to get out, but it takes their flash to do it.
Yeah, great play there from another DayZ. Pick up that return kill 1-for-1 and get out. Does have to burn the flash.
Oh, that black shield!
Oh.
That was huge.
He is also able to get some damage down onto this top turret finally, despite having such a difficult landing phase. Skiz once again up in this top side, though.
Skiz, though, says, get off my turret!
Skiz taking this top lane matchup here with Yias a little bit personally, I feel like, but doing a great job. Great job being quite effective impact so far.
And now that we've got a slight break here, talk about something that happened in a split second in that mid lane. Was one of those biggest strengths of Morgana, that black shield coming out at almost frame perfect to probably save Xion's life there, to deny the crowd control from Ornn's explosion. Didn't deny the damage. That damage seemed to be physical, went straight through the Black Shield, but prevented them from getting knocked up. And, oh my god. Oh, what?
My goodness.
You think you're a sniper? Nuh-uh, says Epic Fail Guy. I am the sniper. I am the artillery, and you will die to my mortars. As Skiz here getting caught out near the shelling, going down. No, the life's still keeping them alive. Vitalize does finally go down, but it takes too long. Exhaust not quite coming out in time to save them. Now we see that Lulu might be caught in a bad position here, using the Whimsy to try to pick up the movement speed to escape. This fight spreading out in 3 different directions here as Hughes gets, oh wow, over the wall. Whoo! I was about to say gets knocked up by Ornn, but nope, gets over the wall. Change of plan.
Yeah, quite a huge little sequence of events there, but you cannot forget that initial thing that started it all off was Zenority not quite taking down Epic Fail Guy. And then in return, losing his own life. Quite a little swing there for sure.
That was that's so frustrating if you're Nordy, because you needed like a long sword.
You needed anything. You needed someone to breathe on him a little bit more, and he would have been done.
Just sneeze a little harder as you shoot your shot. Maybe it'll work.
Yeah, a little bit of extra speed on that bullet, and we're taking him out for sure.
Gosh. But the bravery of Epic Fail Guy there, and I do wonder how much of that bravery comes from knowing that you're Kog'Maw and you have that passive, just standing there and being like, hey, either Lulu's got my back or I'll blow up. One way or the other, I'm not leaving. As we have a skirmish breaking out over Dragon here, another DayZ going in hard with that early ult, getting knocked up by Ornn though. Gets down into the troll pool as Vitalize goes down on the other side to Autumn Skies. Ornn standing in the front, receiving Lulu's ultimate, just keep taking more and more damage, falling finally to Morgana's ultimate. 1-for-1 exchange so far, as this is an even dragon fight, but we have the ultimate coming out from... Yikes! Dion coming out the same way that Epic Fail Guy just did earlier from their own barrage, barely surviving Syndra, who just needed one more blasting rod.
Yeah, only a 1-for-1 here. I'm a little surprised, honestly, because it looked like JuliaDuck was a little bit too aggressive in that engage, trying to contest this Drake, especially with Yias being in this top lane. That is the other thing to keep a note on, is Yias was not there, was about a 5v4 type of situation. Yias getting some great damage now onto the second tier turret on the top side of the map.
That is actually a big deal, because the fact that they took that as a 1-for-1 exchange and they're going to grab this turret, yeah, there it goes. That's actually not a terrible trade. Now, they did lose the dragon. That dragon could come back to bite them later, but picking up that turret, picking up that map control, even if it is in the top lane, where some people argue that getting that second tier map control isn't as effective, it's still important. It's farther away that your opponent has to go to be offered any kind of safety, any kind of protection on the map, and it's free vision that they've just lost for the rest of this match.
Yeah, definitely a great trade there. It might not necessarily be worth, considering that it is an Ocean Soul coming up on the side for the soul for this game, and if Glacial Rising Phoenix is able to pick it up, could be quite devastating, especially with this Ornn being absolutely massive as the game gets a little later on in the front line. A little bit of a dance around Herald here. But
yeah, no, it's true. That kind of sustain game can really bite you later, and it would actually hurt another DayZ, I think, most, because that's something that Vladimir has going. He doesn't have mana. He just uses his health and gets it back. So another DayZ can mostly, especially later in the game, stay in the field working, pushing, fighting as long as they want, unless they are forced back by an engagement. So if Glacial Rising Phoenix picks up this Ocean Soul and the sustain that comes with it, they kind of lose that map presence advantage.
Gold numbers remaining quite even at this point, just approaching 20 minutes into the game. The gold advantage that Zenority had on Epic Fail Guy has dwindled now, pretty insubstantial, just about 400, about a longsword, so not too much of a lead there, as Epic Fail Guy is looking to start to start to get that damage a little bit coming in as scaling up a little bit on this Kog'Maw.
Yeah, Epic Fail Guy definitely has some stuff going. Looks like he picked up a... Yeah, we didn't talk about it earlier, but Epic Fail Guy is sitting on that cleanse, too, to try to be able to give himself a little self-peel, be a little more self-sufficient. Does mean that actually Glacial Rising Phoenix does not have any heals on their team.
Yeah, absolutely a solid choice, though, especially if you consider right there that Morg binding landing on him. If he gets hit by a Morg-Q, or maybe it's just a Vitalize Axe landing on a crucial slow that he needs to get out of in any pivotal late-game situation, he's going to be really happy to have that cleanse available.
As an artillery character like Kog'Maw is, I know I said a joke about it before, but it really is true. He doesn't have any real mobility at all. He has one minor slow that he can use on you to try to keep you away from it a little longer, but that's about it. So that kind of CC getting onto him, there's not really much you can do about it without something like Cleanse. So that tiny bit of... Oh, nice shot, Autumn! Getting that stun, just getting a little bit of enabling... Oh my goodness. It was a bad position for Zinroidy there. They were caught out in a spot of the jungle they didn't want to be, but without the stun, probably had an out. Autumn decided no.
Yeah, Autumn pretty massive right now on the Syndra, living up to the expectations you would have for him on this champion. Has played quite effectively in the past. An interesting thing to keep in mind, though, is going to the later stages of the game, is to be not too many different targets that you want to get picked off. Obviously, if the stun lands onto someone like Morgana, just absolutely pop her. Same thing with Caitlyn. But the thing of Vlad, it's a great counter matchup. We didn't really touch on it too much. Able to just drop into that pool as soon as the ult is popped, as well as Aatrox. Not necessarily the easiest pop champion. Although as we do see him hit that stun.
Oh, that stun does land!
Oh. Good
Flash,
thing they didn't make me a liar that fast.
They almost did, though. Flash is basically the only reason that Hughes managed to get out of that one. As the exact stun that you said he couldn't afford landed.
He's getting lots of pings onto this Drake now. Priority definitely in favor of Glacial Rising Phoenix. Oh, but Astral Dose almost getting picked off right there. Autumn Skies did not have ultimate available. Actually, it looks like it is up again. Interesting.
No, the ultimate was available. The problem is that the stun, something weird happened with the interaction. I think that Autumn Skies triggered the force push part just a tiny bit too soon. But the fight's breaking out here as Xylandis runs into the middle of his team, ults himself to ensure it, but the snipe is taken by one of his friends. Another DZ going possibly too close, receiving the black shield and the pool, but leaving themselves at almost no health. Whoa! Sudden burst coming out while they were in that stasis from their item. Blue team picking up the dragon very quickly as Morgana gets a quick kill on this landing ultimate. Oh, goodness gracious, that exploded suddenly.
Oh my goodness.
Well then, suddenly JuliaDuck picking up an ace here and the dragon.
And Baron next, you'd assume they're heading right over to it.
And yeah, they've got the time, don't they?
That was an absolutely unbelievably executed fight on the side of another DayZ. I don't know if I've really seen a better solo executed team fight in my entire career of League of Legends. He went in, put out the Hemoplay, got tons of damage down, bought so much time in his pool, was so low, popped Zhonya's, bought even more time, then all of a sudden was back up to 2/3 HP. And that was just the difference maker. It bought so much time for his team to get into the position to take out the members of Glacial Rising Phoenix.
And that's where it's like, I've talked before so much about macro, and it's so important, but those situations are where a player's micro can come in and really swing the tide like that. When he dropped into that Zhonya's, I thought that it was his final gambit, that he was dead as soon as he came out. But seriously, to have gotten that health so late into your own Zhonya's, you would have had to triggered your own transfusion the frame before you Zhonya'd. It's about that tight to have healed that much, that deep into a stasis. And that's why Vladimir can just be so oppressive sometimes. It's just, if you don't just destroy him in one go, he has stuff like that.
Yeah, and he's scaling so well and so hard at this point. Has picked up his His Proto Belt and Zonians both completed. Got also a rod in his pocket, so absolutely going to be massive here as the game continues and only going to get huger. Members now, Glacial Rising Phoenix forced to retreat a little bit as Baron-empowered members from JuliaDuck now head into this blue side jungle. Oh!
Skiz trying to get that skirmishing damage off, but looks like he's a little too far away. Oh, no help to turn to as Zenori picks up the long-range snipe just before he can dash out of the camera.
Yeah, JuliaDuck looking in full form, definitely with great tempo right now. Have this Baron, have a pick, got that pick onto Skiz, and we'll be looking to siege down some turrets.
And it, just as you were talking about before, it delayed that Dragon Soul for Glacial Rising Phoenix. Even if they pick it up now, it's going to be much later in the game, and after they've lost a lot more assets from this Baron engagement. And we are actually seeing a slight weakness of JuliaDuck, of Glacial Rising Phoenix team here. They don't really have anything with a long enough range to take out these Baron siege minions. They're just kind of sitting too far away for any of them to do anything about it. They're able to put threat down on JuliaDuck's members. They can't just cavalierly walk in, but as long as they can hang out, giving the buff to those siege minions, the towers will be taking damage, they will be getting further in on this push, and it will get worse for Glacial.
Yeah, Glacial Rising Phoenix doing a good job right now of dodging those bindings coming in from Astral Dose. One of those lands, and it could be an absolutely devastating position for this game, as it could lead to this entire base being cracked open. So very important that they do watch that. Interesting Autumn Skies on the sideline, though. Trying to find a pick. Will not find exactly what it's looking for, though. Will be forced to come back into the base.
And really, just this base presence is all they've got, and they're doing it well, but unfortunately, it is starting to snowball out of control. For the entirety of this match, we've been talking about how even the gold is, and that's really starting to change. JuliaDuck picking up a 7.5k lead here from that fight, from the Baron, from the Dragon, from the towers, and it's just getting worse and worse as they sit here sieging, taking out more minions.
Yeah, and this game was dead close just a couple minutes ago, as you said, and just now looks like the turret will finally fall, but absolutely massive gold lead here obtained by this Baron power play, and no one's really topside as well. Kind of a failed rotation. He is able to get a lot of damage down onto that top inhibitor turret.
Yeah, that
like
turret's pretty
JuliaDuck's
much
gonna
useless
back
now.
off here. Baron has elapsed.
Baron has elapsed, but look at what it bought them. Open bottom lane, damaged mid lane, effectively open top lane. I mean, someone's just got to go in and sneeze on that thing. This was a monumental swing, and it's if you are on Glacial Rising Phoenix side, you are not out of this game yet. There are still ways you can get in. You've still got some leverage.
Ocean
you can
Soul.
pick up that Dragon Soul. You can pick up a good team fight. They are not so strong that you can't, but it's not looking near as good as it was moments ago. Barely snagging the Dragon. Again, that Morg binding coming in just 1 second too late, but they're just going to have to leave Skiz to die as too many members from JuliaDuck come in. The Lulu Wall comes down on Syndra, but it isn't enough to save their life. They're cutting their losses, letting them out. Skiz actually managed to find their way out of that confrontation. I am amazed, by the way, that they escaped with their lives, trading Autumn Skies for that Dragon, and that Dragon was important, but Autumn was too. This Naked Inhibitor, I'm not sure that trade's going to pan out for him.
Yeah, it's great that puts them on the Drake Soul. Need to be a little bit careful here on the side. JuliaDuck, not to get caught up by this Orm, but looks like they will be fine. Vitalize getting taken a little low, but
yeah, Vitalize going really low, so low that I don't think he can even use Olaf advantage to get in, but oh gosh, Vladimir going in with that clutch heal during the stasis once again, coming back to two-thirds health as they pick up another DayZ. Too many problems coming out from JuliaDuck's side. Just the skirmishing power of another DayZ, the skirmishing power of Vitalize, the escape power of another DayZ as we see him leaving on that pool. Flash snipe from Zenori picking up Skiz. Too many members falling. This is starting to look like it might be the end of the game.
Another DayZ is doing things I didn't even know you could do on a Vladimir, to be entirely honest with you. As we do see Yias now going absolutely ham onto this back line, doing everything he can not to walk himself into that fountain, but buying enough time for his team to take down that first Nexus turret. But another DayZ just being an absolute monster on this Vladimir right now. Has not even died once this game, and he has put himself into so many precarious positions deep into the lines of Glacial Rising Phoenix, and every time has been absolutely calculated in his aggression and has not died a single time.
Joey Desu back up on Glacial Rising Phoenix side now with Skiz not far behind, but at this point they've lost. Did it become both of their Nexus turrets? Nope, just the one, but still all three inhibitors exposed or down. Top inhibitor's the only one standing, and it has no turret left. This is extremely rapidly becoming a bad position for Glacial Rising Phoenix. They still have a tiny bit of leverage. They are not so far down that they have no power in a team fight. If they can get a pick, if they can get an advantage where they can get an engagement that doesn't let Revitalize pull what he has been, doesn't let US stand in the middle of them, picking them apart, doesn't let Another Day Z just refuse to care about anything, then they do have a chance, but it's getting really precarious for them, and they are running out of chances as JuliaDuck converges on this Baron. I don't know if Glacial Rising Phoenix can survive another Baron buff.
Yeah, I think it's really going to come down to whether or not they're going to get a chance to get this Ocean Soul or not, and I don't think they're going to. I think once this Baron comes through, we do see them finally kind of rotating over here, trying to maybe contest this, but
they're going to try, but it's going to have to come down to a miraculous steal as the health goes down to none. No, the smite comes in at perfect timing. Vitalize picking up that Baron. This is now JuliaDuck's game to lose.
Yeah, and there's still a minute and a half plus on this Dragon Timer. I don't think there's even going to be an opportunity for Glacial Rising Phoenix to make some sort of last-ditch play to get that soul come back in this game. I think we're going to the end right here. Oh, a nice flank, though, from the Joey Desu.
Oh, wow, that's huge. It gets a lot of CC down, but it looks like it's not coming in on the right members as Olaf comes in, rampaging in the back with that unstoppable. Stasis in the middle. No! 2 members go down to Another Day's explosion. Double kill for him. Snipe comes out, picking off Skiz, and Joey Desu left fighting with the Caitlyn, but just the tank by himself isn't enough. That is the ace with Baron. Turret is down. Nexus is going to shortly follow. GG, JuliaDuck picking it up with an explosive mid-to-end game series of pushes.
Yeah, that was a really good call there as well on the side of Glacial Rising Phoenix to try to make that last fight work. Called in that Ornn flank. Might have been a TP, didn't actually catch how he got there, but nice Ornn flank coming in from them, trying to make something happen. Unfortunately, couldn't land that CC onto any meaningful targets. But it was a nice last-ditch effort from them, as basically that game was over if they didn't do anything about it. So, but yeah, great job from JuliaDuck, as you're saying. Really, ever since that ace they got in the mid lane, or not mid lane, by the Dragon, I believe it was. They got an ace.
Yes. Really
opened up that game, got the Dragon, got the Baron, and as you said, that huge Baron power play they had really just opened the map up for them, and it was all JuliaDuck after that.
Interestingly, taking a look at the damage real quick, it's actually not the story I expected to be told here. By absolute catastrophic margin, the highest damage in this game was Syndra.
Autumn Skies, man.
Yeah, Autumn doing the damage. It's just, if you look at JuliaDuck's damage curve, their team is so flat. Their lowest damage was US on Aatrox, and even then, he's behind by, let's see, yeah, he's behind the next member by only $3,000. And I mean, 3,000 is some damage, but
yeah, absolutely. I mean, JuliaDuck really was. They won this game, not taking too many different fights. They won that one big fight at the Dragon, of course. But after that, really just used their macro, rotated well, sieged the base quite effectively. Obviously, I had to take one fight there at the end to actually get that Nexus destroyed. But it wasn't a story of just massive team fight after team fight to win this game. It was just a good job of using that lead they got.
And I think there's actually another graph that's important in this one, and that's actually the damage taken. If you pull that up, it's actually insane the amount of damage that that Vladimir took and never died. Second on their team and in the game, only to Olaf.
Speaking of Vladimir, the man, the myth himself, Another Day Z, joined us here in the casting booth. How do you feel after that victory, man?
I don't know. I did nothing in the game, just Olaf did everything. Olaf slowed everyone, so I just do R and E.
Well, it's quite a
Nothing in
modest
that
response.
game. Man, humility much.
I was gonna say, I feel like you did a great job in a lot of those team fights of really calculating your aggression, going in right into the enemy team and just never actually dying. You had a perfect KDA, 5-0 and 8. But yeah, talk a little bit more about your partner in crime there, Vitalize, and how he had that impact in the game. You think?
He just tell me when we need to team fight and like when we need to go in and we need to back. So basically, he did everything.
Yeah, Vitalize definitely did a good job as well. It was a great team effort. The game was pretty close for a while. Goal lead was pretty much identical up until you guys found that key ace at the Dragon Pit. At that point, did you guys know, as you were walking towards Baron, that this game was yours to win, or were you guys still a little worried about it?
We don't really talk about like how we're gonna do. We just like we really didn't speak anything. We just like when going in or not. So like we were like quiet and just like we just said they have a flash or not. That's it.
Calling out the summer spells for sure.
Yeah.
Neelix, have anything to add?
I don't think so. I mean, you've covered a lot of what we were looking at, and just obviously the team play between you guys was really on point this game. We talked about it early on, and just you guys were on the same page, especially later in the game around that dragon. Just who started making the calls that everyone was going with?
That's all love.
Vital. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with this dub, you guys advanced to a 3-3 record. Congratulations, and good luck in your games moving forward.
Okay.
All right. Well, pretty destructive day today. What do you think, Neelix? Pretty exciting action all around, honestly.
By the way, in funny tradition, you truly had to combine our two predictions to get it right, because you did back JuliaDuck's horse there, but the game ended in 32 minutes.
That is true. I did predict a much earlier victory from JuliaDuck. Definitely not what we saw there, as that early game was quite even for sure. But at the end of the day, JuliaDuck impressed me, because they have looked quite strong in certain flashes. In the first section of the NG Blossom game, the first half of the game, last week they looked very strong. There's one little misplay in the team fight, and then NG Blossom rolled with the game after that. But JuliaDuck definitely has high potential as a team, as they did end up taking down Glacial Rising Phoenix today, who was the 3rd seed. I'm not sure if they still will be after this, but nice dominating performance here from JuliaDuck, and a nice solid pickup to their resume. But I do believe this will conclude our coverage of Week 4, Day 1 of the Ascendant League Series.
Yep.
An important thing to note.
An ending.
Yeah, a great ending to the day, but an important thing to note looking forward is the first game of the day tomorrow is possibly the most exciting match we have had all split, as we will see Iron Dragon take on NG Blossom.
Oh, so, that sounds good.
Absolutely. So make sure you guys set an alarm, whatever you gotta do. Tune in for that game, because it is going to be absolutely explosive and absolutely entertaining.
Well, and if there's anyone you were thinking might be interested in the series, might want to see it for themselves, might even want to see it and consider joining one of the future runs, that is going to be a game to get them in on. If anything we have seen from those two teams is anything to say about, that is your window, guys. It may not be a final, it may not be a series, but that one game, that one little 30 to 40 minute snapshot might be enough to sway that friend you've been thinking about talking to.
And it's just definitely going to be an absolutely, I don't even know, explosive might not be the apt word to use, but it's going to be an absolutely exciting game to watch. So make sure you tune into our coverage of that at 1 p.m. EST tomorrow. But yeah, I think that will do it for us here today, as we should be signing off week 4, day 1, and we will see you guys tomorrow.